The Last Mile Home, an American mother's journey in the heart of Ohio, where steel mills once breathed life into a small town called Millbrook. Maria Rodriguez learned what it meant to fight for everything that mattered. The year was 2008, and the world had turned its back on places like this. But Maria, she wasn't about to give up. The camera pans across empty factory lots, rust-stained buildings, and for sale signs that had been there so long they'd become part of the landscape. Maria stands at her kitchen window, watching her 8-year-old son Danny play in their small backyard with a worn baseball glove. Maria had come to America 15 years ago with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. She'd worked double shifts at Henderson Steel, saved every penny, and bought this little house on Maple Street. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. Then came the layoffs. Then came the real test. Maria sits at her kitchen table, surrounded by bills and job applications. The calculator shows numbers that don't add up to hope. Danny's school supplies list sits next to overdue notices. Every morning, Maria would drive to 3 different diners, looking for work. "We're not hiring," they'd say. "Try next month," they'd promise. But next month never came with better news. In America, they tell you that hard work pays off. Maria worked harder than anyone, but the bills kept coming anyway. The scene shifts to Maria at a diner, serving coffee to truckers at 5 a.m. Her hands shake from exhaustion, but her smile never wavers. She found work finally cleaning offices. At night, serving breakfast at dawn and watching Mrs. Patterson's kids in the afternoon. 3 jobs that together barely paid what one used to. But Maria had learned something important. American dreams don't come with guarantees. They come with choices. And she chose to keep fighting. Danny runs home from school, waving an envelope. It's from Jefferson Academy, a private school downtown that offers scholarships to gifted students. Danny was special, not just because he was her son, but because he had something Maria recognized, that spark of possibility. His teachers saw it too. He could go anywhere, they said. Do anything, but opportunity in America always comes with a price tag. Maria reads the letter. Full scholarship for academics, but she needs to provide transportation, uniforms, and supplies. It might as well be asking for the moon that night. Maria made a decision that would change everything. She would take a 4th job, cleaning at the academy itself. She'd work from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., then drive Danny to school, then rush to the diner. Sleep became a luxury she couldn't afford, but watching her son walk through those academy doors, that was worth everything. The seasons change. Maria's exhaustion shows in every line of her face, but Danny thrives. He makes the honor roll, joins the debate team, starts talking about college. In America, we tell stories about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. But they don't tell you about the mothers who work for jobs so their kids can have bootstraps to pull. They don't tell you about the 3 a.m. drives home, fighting to stay awake. They don't tell you about eating cereal for dinner so your son can have a real meal. Maria falls asleep at the kitchen table, still in her cleaning uniform. Danny finds her there in the morning and quietly makes his own breakfast. Danny was growing up fast, too fast. He learned to do his own laundry, make his own lunch, and never ask for anything that cost money. At 12, he was already more responsible than most adults. That's what poverty does to kids in America. It makes them grow up when they should still be dreaming. Maria collapses at the diner. Exhaustion, malnutrition, and stress finally catch up with her. She's hospitalized for 3 days. Danny stays with Mrs. Patterson, terrified his mother won't come home. That's when Maria realized something crucial. She wasn't just fighting for Danny's future anymore. She was fighting for her own survival. And in America, sometimes the system breaks the very people it's supposed to help. But Maria had something the system couldn't break: a mother's love. The hospital social worker suggests programs, assistance, temporary solutions. Maria listens politely, but she's already planning her next move. They offered her charity, but Maria wanted something different. She wanted a chance to build something lasting. That's when she remembered her grandmother's words. "Mia, in America, you don't just work for money, you work for opportunity." Maria uses her savings to take a night course in medical assisting. She cuts back to 3 jobs, sleeps 4 hours a night, and studies by the light of her phone in the car between shifts. The American dream isn't just about making it, it's about making it count. Maria wasn't just trying to survive anymore. She was trying to build a foundation. Every test she passed, every skill she learned, was a brick in the wall she was building around her son's future. Danny, now 14, starts helping at the diner. On weekends, he's quiet, serious, and incredibly bright. Other kids his age are worried about video games and dating. Danny's worried about his mother's health and their electric bill. This is the part they don't show you in the movies about the American dream. The part where kids sacrifice their childhood so their parents can sacrifice their health. The part where love looks like working yourself to death so someone else can live. Maria graduates from her medical assistant program. She gets a job at the county hospital, steady hours, health insurance, and a salary that actually covers the bills. For the first time in years, she sleeps 6 hours straight. Success in America isn't always about getting rich. Sometimes it's about getting stable. Maria's new job meant Danny could be a kid again, even if just for a little while. It meant she could eat dinner with her son instead of serving it to strangers. It meant hope. Danny gets accepted to Ohio State on a full academic scholarship. The letter arrives on a Tuesday, and Maria cries for the first time in years. Not from exhaustion, but from joy. That letter represented everything Maria had worked for. Not just Danny's future, but proof that the American dream still existed for people willing to fight for it. It wasn't the dream she'd imagined when she first came to this country, but it was theirs. Danny graduates as valedictorian. In his speech, he doesn't talk about his achievements. He talks about his mother, about the nights she fell asleep at the kitchen table, about the jobs she worked, about the sacrifices she made. That's when Maria understood something profound. She hadn't just raised a son, she'd raised a man who understood the cost of opportunity. In America, we celebrate individual achievement. But Danny knew the truth. His success was built on his mother's sacrifice. The camera shows Maria in the audience, wearing her hospital scrubs because she came straight from work. She's crying, but she's smiling too. This is what the American dream really looks like. Not a mansion or a sports car, but a mother watching her son walk across a stage, knowing that everything she gave up was worth this moment. This is what love looks like when it's measured in midnight shifts and morning prayers. 5 years later, Danny is a doctor. He buys Maria a house, not a mansion, but a real home, with a garden and a front porch. Maria quits her 4th job and keeps just one: head nurse at the county hospital. Maria never became rich, never became famous, never got her picture in the paper. But she did something more important. She broke the cycle. She took a life of struggle and turned it into a life of purpose. That's the real American dream. Not just changing your own life, but changing the lives that come after you. Danny brings his fiancée to meet Maria. She's a teacher, kind and smart. They want to name their first daughter after Maria's grandmother. That's when Maria knew she'd won. Not because her son was successful, but because he'd learned the right lessons. He'd learned that success isn't about what you get, it's about what you give. He'd learned that in America, the dream isn't just about climbing the ladder. It's about making sure the ladder is there for the next person who needs it. The story ends with Maria at her kitchen table, not surrounded by bills this time, but by pictures. Danny's graduation, his wedding, his first child. The same table where she once counted pennies now holds memories worth more than money. Maria's story isn't unique in America. Every day, mothers like her work jobs that break their backs to build their children's futures. Every day, they choose sacrifice over comfort, hope over despair. They are the silent guardians of the American dream, the ones who keep it alive even when the world tries to kill it. The camera pulls back to show the neighborhood. The old steel mill is gone, replaced by a community college. The for sale signs are gone too, replaced by welcome home signs in 3 languages. This is Maria's America. Not perfect, not easy, but real. A place where a mother's love can still change the world, one midnight shift at a time. Where the American dream isn't dead. It's just wearing work boots and serving coffee at 5 a.m. Waiting for the next generation to pick it up and carry it. Forward, Maria rocks her granddaughter to sleep, humming the same lullaby she once sang to Danny. The baby's eyes are bright with possibility. The last mile home isn't about reaching a destination. It's about the journey, the sacrifice, and the love that makes it all worthwhile. In America, every mother who works 3 jobs is a hero. Every child who studies by streetlight is a dream come true. And every family that refuses to give up is proof that the American dream is still alive, still worth fighting for, still worth everything. The Last Mile Home is a story about the real American dream. Not the one sold in magazines, but the one built in kitchen tables, night shifts, and a mother's unwavering love. It's a reminder that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they wear work uniforms and carry hope in their hearts.